Our next speaker is widely recognized as the world's leading expert on the power of presence and influence. Please offer a warm welcome for Connie Dieken.
I believe it's time to hit the reset button on our approach to modern influence. Own your presence. Own it. You are most powerful when you reveal who you really are. Do you know what's the most effective form of communication in the world? Rumor. Always has been, always will be. My passion is to help you become an influencer in your life.
Connie Dieken's thought leadership drives you to the intersection of influence and presence. Her seminal work reveals a new path for leaders to earn trust and commitment in a time of unprecedented change.
When you do this, you have the ability to transform minds, behaviors, outcomes. Things change around you, and you are able to make your best and boldest contribution to the world. Influencers are not people who just play the game. Influencers change the game.
Connie doesn't just talk a good game about the fusion of influence and presence, she embodies it. A former newswoman, she's won multiple Emmy Awards and was inducted into the Radio and Television Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Since launching the Dieken Group, she's been honored as a top female business leader, a global guru of executive coaching, a leadership think tank honoree, and a top keynote speaker.
As you may have heard, I spent my first 20 years in the broadcasting field. I studied our guests, whether it was President Bill Clinton, Jack Welch, Dr. Ruth. I loved it. She called me Connie. I wanted to see what was it about them that made them influential. Using my journalism sleuthiness, I set out to find what are the metrics of what makes a person influential.
What followed was methodical research with leadership teams at top-performing brands around the world. After more than a decade of rigorous, validated testing, the Dieken Group identified the 3 C's where presence meets influence: connect, convey, convince. Connie's groundbreaking framework merges these elements to ensure that leaders influence with integrity.
So let's start with the connecting here. So where are we? And how good are you at this? Connecting is your responsibility, not the other person's. If you're really good at this, you engage people, you align them, and you resonate with them. That's why they are drawn to you. However, if you are weak at this, what happens is people dodge you, they delay decisions, or they outright deny what you are asking them to do. I'd like to share with you something I've also learned about listening, and that is listening is the desire to hear. Listening is not merely being quiet. People know that you're not really connecting with them if they don't feel you have a desire to hear what they have to say. So there is opportunity waiting right here between your ears.
Today, the Dieken Influence Profile is strengthening the presence of leaders around the world. This validated assessment identifies the conditions and behaviors that prompt you to gain and lose influence, from big picture credibility issues right down to likability issues as tiny as the muscles in your face.
All you do is pull up those muscles, and now you look pleasant, even if inside you're thinking very bad thoughts. This can take care of that outer presence problem that you may be experiencing.
Connie Style is friendly and approachable. She dives right into audiences to ensure that everyone enjoys themselves and applies key takeaways.
The very first time I did this exercise, it was a table of leaders at a retreat, and they were all very close to each other. So I asked one guy, I said, "What's your word?" And he said, "Transparent." And I noticed a lady sitting next to him, and so she was kind of shaking her head, so I went to her and I said, "Well, what's your word for him?" And she said, "Delusional."
Each program is tailored to the needs of the specific audience, as the former newswoman skillfully combines the headlines with the front lines of business.
This was the recently named new CEO of Cisco, Chuck Robbins. They took the head of sales. And why did they do that? The board cited warmth as their factor because they realized people will follow this man. And that is how the world is very much changing here. Warmth actually trumps competence in a study done by the Harvard Business Review. I'd like you now to consider the Swiffer, because they had an idea by listening to their customers who said, boy, they'd like a better way to mop. And so what they did was essentially put a rag on the bottom of a pole. And look what happened to that. It is now their top-selling product. Within 4 months of launch, it went to being a $100 million product, and today is bringing in $500 million annually. A rag on a stick. Because that is what their consumers and their customers wanted. What do your customers want?
Whether keynoting, consulting, coaching, or certifying corporate trainers to deliver the Dieken Group's powerful tools, Connie Dieken's presence transforms leaders into influencers.
And I want you to get out there and do amazing things, things that you didn't realize were needed before in order to influence your world. But when you do these things, life changes. You become the influencer that you were meant to be. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know why I love doing this? Because it is fantastic to watch the sparks fly as people start owning their power. So give us a call. We'd love to hear your meeting goals, have a conversation about your ideal outcomes, and then over-deliver to exceed your expectations. Thanks for watching.